Hi, this is Elena with Black Sheep 303 Creative, and every Saturday this month I get to be the guest designer on the Crazy for Challenges blog. Yay! So for this week, the challenge was to create a card using a rubber ducky or birds of your choice, if you don't have rubber duckies, because apparently it is World Rubber Ducky Day. So I didn't have any rubber duckies, so I am using chicks from the Lawn Fawn Chirpy Chirp stamp set, and I am stamping them in Memento Tuxedo black ink onto some Neenah Solar White cardstock because I'm going to be coloring these guys with some Copic markers. And then I'm stamping the Chirpy Chirp sentiment, and then I will also stamp translation "You're a cool chick" as well for the sentiments. And then I'm going to stamp the grass piece from the stamp set twice using the Gina Designs Grass Green little mini ink cube to give that some color. And so now I've cut out my chicks and I'm going to color them with my Copic. So I'm starting out with a base coat of Y04, which is called Acacia, and it is a, I don't know, like a medium yellow. So I'm just base coating the chick's body with this, and then I'm going to add some shading with Y08, which is acid yellow. And I'm going to just add that shading, you know, as if he were lit from the front. So he'd have a little bit of shading on his back, under his wing. The wing behind him would be darker. Under his beak would be a little bit shaded. You know, just kind of some simple areas to shade. And then I'm going to blend that back again with the Y04 just by coloring basically over the Y08 to kind of blend it out, especially where it meets up with the Y04 to smooth out the blend. And then for the orange, I'm using Y17 golden yellow, but I'm going to have a mishap with this shortly. And then for shading, I'm using YR04, which is chrome orange. And then I'm blending back with the golden yellow, but then look, it just bled all over everything right there on that foot. I'm guessing because it might be overfilled. So I used my Y04 to blend out the orange from the body that had bled into the body. And then I'm going to use my trick of the trade. Oh, but here's some RV21 for the cheek that I blend with Y04. And so here's my trick. I take a white glaze pen and I go over the areas where the color has bled. Now, and then I'm going to let that dry and color the second chick. And once he's done, it has dried, I go over it and add a second coat. And depending on the color that you're trying to cover up, you might have to do multiple coats with the glaze pen, but ultimately it'll cover it up and you won't even know that you ever screwed it up. And then I just filled in any lines that I covered with the glaze pen with my Copic liner. Now for components, I have an A2 sized white card base, and then I have a piece of acetate that is slightly smaller than that. And then these two strips are cut to 3/4 wide by, I don't know, like 6 inches long. And then that's an A2 sized piece of pink striped paper, so 5.5 by 4.25. And those two pieces come from the My Favorite Things Sweet Celebration 6x6 paper pack. And then this piece of Gina Designs Wild Lilac cardstock was die cut with the My Favorite Things Stitch Triple Peekaboo window die that I just all have connected together. You can cut those apart, but I just left them together because I liked the idea of being able to just put 3 windows into the front of something. And my buddy Maureen Simon, who you may know from YouTube as well, also has made a lot of shaker cards using that die, and she keeps it connected too, so I kind of followed her because she's a genius. Anyway, now I want to get a good adhesion between the acetate and the windows, and first I'm going to put my grass piece that I've fussy cut out down behind the windows so you will see them a little bit peeking out, and just trimming off the excess there. And then I'm going to add some additional 6mm Elizabeth Craft Designs double-sided adhesive tape to the back of the card front, and a little bit of 3mm on the very ends too, because I want that acetate piece to be really stuck to the front. Like, I don't want to risk having any sequins, you know, get stuck between it and any of the other structural pieces or the grass or anything, or fly out for any reason once I get the sequins into the shaker pockets. Okay, so I've fussy cut out my chicks, as you can see here, and I'm again using the 6mm adhesive tape to just adhere them into the fronts of the windows, just to make my little cute little chick buddies. And they're pretty cute. And you can see, like, I did the, you know, one facing center in the middle, and then the 2 facing either way on either side. And then these strips of pattern paper are going to go on the top and the bottom to mat down the sentiments that I have also trimmed down quite a bit. Like the Chirpy Chirp Chirp, I basically fussy cut out with a border around it, and I'm using 6mm adhesive on that, and then a little bit of Zig 2A glue pen on some of the like loopy areas that can't have tape on it. And I'll adhere that in the middle of the top strip. And then the bottom strip I just trimmed way down into like a strip, and it says that's the translation, "You're a cool chick." And I'm just going to adhere that with some 6mm adhesive onto the middle of the bottom strip. And so that's the majority of the front completed. And I'm just trimming off the excess of the pattern paper from the two sides. And now I'm going to adhere my pink pattern paper to the front of my card base using my ATG gun that just ran out. And so I'm going to go back to the 6mm adhesive tape for the middle so I can get a good adhesion on the white card front. And then the white card base turns out to be a little bit big, so I have to trim that down just a hair. And now I'm going to be building my shaker pockets. So I'm using 1-inch Scotch foam tape, and then I'm trimming it down. Like, I actually like this because you get a lot more for the money, and then you can just cut it into the shape that you need. So I'm putting little shaker pockets between each window, and I'm going to put 2 layers of foam tape between them and all over the back of the card, as you will see in a little bit. And that's going to make the pockets deep enough so that my sequins can shake nicely behind my birds. And it's kind of that's a little bit of an involved process, but it's not too bad. And I will skip ahead here in a second. But so you're going to see I'm going to do along the bottom and top. You need to make sure you have a good, those windows need to be sealed between the sides and the tops and the bottom, so that your sequins don't spill out accidentally. So that's one thing to make sure you do if you're making a shaker card, is seal up that the area where your sequins are going to be. And so now I have 2 layers of foam tape all over the back of the card, and that's probably the hardest part done. And now I'm going to take some baby powder and a soft brush and just go around the edges of the foam tape on the inside of the windows to basically kill any adhesive that might be sticky on the edges of those windows, because I have learned that the hard way. The sequins will stick, and then you're kind of have a mess with your shaker card. It'll look weird and not be so great. So that's a step I always have learned to do with shaker cards, to just make sure that the sequins don't stick in any random weird spot. And now I have this mix, like it was a mix I made of my own, of some fuchsia, light blue, and yellow sequins. And then I'm just peeling off the backing of my foam tape, and I'm going to adhere the back of the card down. Now this is probably the trickiest part. It's kind of lining up the top. I did get the bottom a little bit low, so I do have to trim that off a little bit, but not too bad. It did seal everything up nicely, and it doesn't show from around the sides, so that's the most important part. And the shakers work, so yay. And then as a little finishing touch, I decided to add some sequins to the front. So I'm using some micro glue dots, and I'm adhering down some of the matching fuchsia sequins from the inside. And then I will also have a light pink sequin, which is different from the inside sequins. And then a yellow sequin that's the same from the shaker. And then I also have a sort of darker, like orangey yellow that coordinates, that I did not use on the inside, but went with the colors on the front. And that is basically the completed card. And I thought it was really cute. I thought it would be a nice encouragement card for a friend who is might be feeling down and might need a little bit of a shaky surprise in her life to make her feel better. And I just enjoyed having the challenge of making a bird card that was not, I don't know, like Easter related. Even though this is an Easter set, you can obviously use it to make other types of cards. So hopefully I've inspired you a little bit today. And as always, supplies are linked in the video description and over on my blog, as is the Crazy for Challenges blog post. And here are 2 other projects I have made. The first one is the Crazy for Challenges tag card from last week, and the second one is an Easter card that I made using this same Chirpy Chirp Chirp stamp set. Thanks so much, and have an amazing day!